Hey, how's it going? My name is Pedro Rico, and I'm taking a look at your job posting here on Upwork. You want an asymmetric horror game, and you want someone familiar with Lyra and or Gas. Well, fortunately, I am very familiar with both, and in fact, my whole code base is technically Lyra based, but heavily customized and optimized because Lyra itself had a lot of bugs, and I had to fix a bunch of them. So what I want to start with is I want to show you the game, and I want to say that if you end up working with me, we can just use my existing custom code base of Lyra because it's already polished, already optimized, and it just needs a few tweaks to make your game, honestly. So we would save like months and months of work. Like this is probably thousands of dollars worth of money that we can save if we were just to leverage the existing code base that I have. So just a heads up, we can talk about it more of in an interview, but let me show you a prototype build from May. And let's jump right in. So um, again, looks a little bit like Lyra. Let me jump right in. Host. Let's go ahead and do like a quick free for all little thing right here. Let me actually lower the volume. It's a little bit too loud. Audio. Let's do. Let's apply that. It's way too loud. There you go. That sounds way better. Cool. So here we're in a warm up phase. And if someone was on Steam right now, they'd be able to jump in. And then here, as you can see, we're in third person, right? Because that's how like the default is. And then here I'm aiming down sight. So later on, I'll show you how we can make it into first person. But let me go ahead and quit this, and then I'll show you the actual code. And let me go and hop in over to the Unreal Engine editor. So, let me pull up your question. I think you had a question. So question 7. So you want to know how I would make a custom asymmetric game mode. Great question, sir. So, and I'll give you like some examples, right? Because I'm pretty sure many people are going to pitch you their ideas or their concepts. And I'll just tell you what I learned from my experience with working with other people and what I've worked with on this custom Lyra build. Oh, as a side note, it says Dominion because it is a custom Lyra build, right? So that's just it. But everything at the core structural architecture is technically Lyra, but just better built, more optimized, and debugged. Debugged, I'd say debugged like 80-90% because I still need to make AI, but we can talk about that later. Anyways, so most people, what they'll do is they'll have like a King of the Hill game mode, free for all game mode, 2v2 game mode, etc. And you end up getting like multiple classes, multiple codes, and it becomes like a little bit of a headache because if you want to share code or if you want to like scale up to multiple game modes, you're constantly having to go back and like fix things or constantly having to edit duplicate files, and it gets annoying. So what's cool is that Lyra has an experience manager, and that may not mean anything to you, but I'll just show you in a nutshell. Right here. Perfect. So basically, this is like a bucket with Legos, and that's the best way to think about game modes in terms of this setup. So instead of having multiple game mode classes, we're just going to have an experience definition, and we're going to define the Legos, quote unquote, that we want for your asymmetric horror mode. So what I mean by Legos is all the bits and pieces that you want for your particular game. So as an example here, I have free-for-all logic for spawning people far away because that's how it should work in a free-for-all game. I want to make sure that people aren't just spawning next to each other because that would be a terrible free-for-all game. And then over here, I have a elimination scoring, meaning like kills, assists, deaths, etc. for a free-for-all game. And then over here, I just have like a universal widget for the HUD, etc. But for your asymmetric horror mode, all we got to do is literally just customize your scoring. If you want hunters to get like 2x points when they kill a survival person, great. We can do that. We would just go over here. Let me see. Go over here in this base class. This is like the game scoring base. We would just make a child class and then we would customize it. Super easy to do. And let's say, cool, like on assists, we can configure whatever you want to assist. On deaths, we can configure whatever you want on deaths. In terms of timing, match times, we can customize that. Very customizable, very easy to do. And that's why I say it's Legos, because then we're just dragging and dropping little bits of pieces of code here and there versus customizing whole classes. So I'll go back to the game mode here. We're not going to be customizing whole classes here because that's kind of a headache. Not needed. We're just customizing bits and pieces of logic in accordance to your ideal game. In regards to rounds, let me look. Is it right here? Game phase ability. Perfect. So what I like about Lyra is ordinarily game modes. I'm not gonna go back. Game modes are basically only server side, so then the clients aren't gonna be able to see it. So Lyra gets around it by having a ability system component on the game state, and that enables us to replicate rounds, round logic, match warm-up states, playing states, game over states. Super efficient. So I'll give you an example. So here, this is like the warm-up one. It starts, we activate the ability on the game state. It gets replicated over to clients from the server. And then in this particular case, we just have an immunity gameplay effect. So meaning people can just run around and shoot each other while the game's warming up and before the actual game starts, right? So that's super handy. And then in your case, for your asymmetric horror game, what we would do is this is the official playing quote unquote game phase, and then we would just set this up so people, let's say hunters are twice as fast, or let's say you want to have 3 rounds, so like it will like repeat again and again. We can have whatever custom logic you want in here. Over here we can have playing dash, we can have playing dot round 1, playing dot round 2, and let's say round 3 is like a sudden death mode or whatever. We can customize all of that. Very easy to do, and all of that can exist blueprint side, C++ side, simple. And let me see here, and that's basically it for the asymmetric game mode. It's not hard. This is very easy to do. Like, I've already done all the heavy lifting, to be honest. This, honestly, for me to take Lyra apart and put it together, this took me about a year. Yeah, it was pretty wild, but you can benefit, man. Like, you can just take advantage of all this work, and we can get you to launch on a prototype that much sooner. The next part I want to address is your body cam first person framework. And so let me show you the code. So I have a custom character class, like the guy you saw running around earlier at the beginning of the video, and we're using a Dominion camera component. And off the Dominion camera component, it's super cool because basically we have several camera modes, and I don't want to confuse you with all the text on screen. So let me just jump over here. Basically, all it is we can have multiple different camera modes. We can have a death one. So let's say it's a 1 camera mode on death. It goes further out, and I'll show you that in a little bit. We have an aim down sight one. We have a over the shoulder one for third person. And we can just simply make first person camera modes. If you want the camera to be located in the chest, we can do that. If you want it to be located in the head area, we can do that. It just involves customizing the values. So for example, this one is the depth camera, and we're at about a -160 on the X axis. And over here, this is the over the shoulder view. And over here, we're at -250 on the X axis. And I'll show you what that even means, right? Because let me show you that real quick. Let me get this. Oh no. Let me get this guy right here. So this is over the shoulder, and then this is the aim down the side camera. Pretty easy, right? And so I'm just jumping from one camera mode to the other. So this is very customizable. And then let me show you this guy right here. Let me expand this just a little bit so I can see where the hell I'm going. Because technically I'm in a free-for-all mode setup, so they spawn pretty far away. Let me just go run over here so I can shoot this other guy, and I'll make a quick note on the multiplayer aspect. And then as a note, because this is a custom Lyra-based game, it's taking advantage of the gameplay ability system. It's taking advantage of the game framework plugin system. It's taking advantage of the common UI plugins and that system. There's many different things here, and all of it works over replication. Plus, I have some future replication ideas because I was thinking about having an in-game chat, just for my custom code base. But you know, up to you if you want that or not. We could always just delete that. But anyways, the purpose that I was mentioning all that is there's multiple plugins in here. They all work. And here I'm emulating a multiplayer experience. Technically, this over here on the left side is the host, which is why it says server. And over here we have client 1, which is like a player joining the server. And it replicates. So as you can see here, I'm shooting on the ground and the other guy can see it. And I'm going to go ahead and shoot this guy with a shotgun. And I'm out of ammo. Let me reload. And he's dead. And then let me come over here real quick. And then now you can see there's like a camera mode here. And now I'm back into third person. So real quick, I just wanted to show you this so you can see the multiple camera types, and you can see that it does work in multiplayer, right? So there's that. It's pretty neat. And what else? Oh yeah, and in terms of like the body camera look, that would just be a custom material that we would add, like a filter that we would add to the camera. So that would, like, cosmetically, that'd be up to you, right? Maybe you found something you like, or maybe I can make a custom one, up to you, but that's pretty easy to do as well. Let me look at your list. And I guess the last thing would be animation, right? Because technically all the animations here are for third person, so their arms move around a lot. Their and I'll show you that real quick. Their arms move around a lot. Boom, boom, boom. As you can see, his arms are moving, so that would block the chest camera if we had like a chest camera. So we would just need to A, make custom animations, or B, we can just find existing first-person animations. I think Unreal Engine already has some for free, like in different projects, so we can totally do that. But yeah, that's basically it. And I have set this up before. So I helped a game studio some years back, and it was technically on Lyra. I helped them make Lyra into first person. I'm not really a fan of first person, but you know, I did help this game studio do that. And we just needed to get custom animations. But one thing I did notice while working at the other game studio was I liked having third person animations with a first person camera, because then it gave more of a realistic first person point of view, because then the gun was in the way, right? Because that's actually what would happen. They didn't like it, but I liked it. And then so I just had to find custom animations for them, but it is what it is. Anyways, a little bit of a tangent, but let's get back to your list. And yeah, I mean, like I said, this is Lyra based, already multiplayer. You're good to go. So I think hopefully this is short enough and counts as a short explanation. I did want to show it to you, so I'm not just, you know, talking to the wind, or like, you know, it's more believable if you were to see it, right? And I will answer these questions later. But yeah, just to like overview this real quick. Technical architecture, it's already set up. Like, everything's good to go. Like, we don't have to invent anything new. The only thing potentially new might be if you want to have like custom lobbies, like you want people running around in the same room, or you just want like a menu, whatever. Those are like tiny things, nothing major in terms of architecture. the base architecture of shooting, inventory, character selection, etc. Super easy to do. It's already made. Multiplayer networking, it's in Unreal Engine 5.7. We can upgrade to 5.8 because that's the latest one. I haven't upgraded it yet, but that's fine. I've heavily debugged Lyra. I already have a prototype build. If you want to play, you and I can like hop on. We can play. If you have other people, you just need a Steam account. That's about it. Because I'm leveraging Steam servers. I have not tested it with 6 people because looking at your thing, it looks like you want like 6 max people, but we can test that if you want. I know it could work with 4 people, so I just haven't had a need to test it with 6 people. Team-based asymmetric gameplay, we can totally set that up. Easy. I already covered how we would set that up at the with the blueprint experience. We would just have to customize whatever rules you want and plug and play. First person combat. Technically, we have third person combat, so we would just have to change the camera and boom, it's first person, right? Stealth and invisibility mechanics. I don't know what you mean by stealth, so we would have to talk about that like over an interview. In terms of invisibility mechanics, that would just be a material, and honestly, it's simple. It's just setting. There's like a value called opacity, how much it makes something opaque, like how much it blocks someone's view. We would just turn it to 0 when we wanted to. Well, when we wanted it to be 0. So that's really easy to do. Special abilities. Yeah, that's already set up because we're the project is set up in using gameplay ability systems. So ability usages and making infinite abilities is already part of the Unreal Engine framework for that. Deception and identity mechanics. I'm assuming you want the hunters to look like a player survivor. Maybe it matches how they look. Maybe it steals their name. That's all cosmetic. Really easy to do. We can talk about that over an interview. Round-based gameplay. I already showed you that. Easy to do. Body cam style presentation. Easy to do. Realistic Unreal Engine 5 environment. Pretty easy to do. This is from like a random asset pack I got online. Very cheap. We can just find whatever asset packs you want for your horror game. Initially, though, I would recommend just starting off testing in like a free level like this, and then in the background we can figure out what kind of environment you would want for your horror game. And what else? Working package Windows build. I mean, that's what this is. A Windows build. Easy. Works in multiplayer. I have source code and blueprints. I think I mentioned earlier there's multiple frameworks in here. There's like there's the experience manager framework, the game framework, the gameplay ability system, common UI, multiple frameworks, documentation of the project architecture. I actually have that over here. Let me pull that up. Boom, boom, boom. So my code base is actually fully documented because I will forget, you know, like this is huge. Like this project is fucking massive. And so I have it fully documented because I will forget, and actually had to look at notes because I was like, how did I set this up again? Or how did Lyra set this up? And then boom, here it is. So if you wanted to, you can review all these. But I know that you don't want to learn Unreal Engine, so you don't have to, but it's all here. So it's all fully documented, all ready to go. Like super easy for anyone to take over. And then let me go back to so documentation of the project, that's already done. Plugin and dependency list, that's already part of the source code. I mean, like we can just like hop over to Git, and then I'd be able to show you the plugins, etc. Boom, boom, boom. Plugins right here. You'd be able to look at all of it, etc. Let me come back over here. Oh, I got a fly in my room. Freaking fly. It's trying to fly in my face. All right, and it's version controlled, right? So this is safe. And yeah, so if you wanted to, you can hit me up for an interview. And if you wanted to take advantage of this full project, we could just simply make a fork, right? We can just fork it, put it in your repo, boom, and then that's it. Honestly, it's like this is very easy to do. This would save you thousands and thousands of dollars I honestly, tens of thousands of dollars. This took me quite a bit of time optimizing everything. But yeah, any questions you have, feel free to let me know and reach out. Looking forward to talking to you.